Well, hello, and welcome to another version of Hawk's Scan Sentry Report. I am Hawk Arps, and I am the Vice President of Jan Arps Traders Toolbox. And this is the Scan Sentry Report for the week beginning May 12th, 2014. Well, we spend a lot of time here at the Scan Sentry Report talking about how we look for different trade setups, or how we've been looking at different intermarket analysis through the synthetic symbols on the watch list recently. But I get a lot of requests from some of you out there asking me to show you some actual trades and trading analysis and technique. So today I thought it would be a good opportunity to review a trade I took earlier in this week and go through it step by step how I came about taking that trade. This trade was on the crude oil contract, and the trade happened right here after we saw this pullback 23 on the daily chart. Now, I'm a short-term trader on futures contracts, so most of my trading begins with a longer-term analysis based on a large volume chart. In the case of the crude oil, that would be a 13,000 share chart. And this is just showing me basically where the areas of accumulation are, where people have traded, what are the trading zones. And I only have a few indicators on here, those being the support and resistance lines that we created, and the fear-greed indicator showing me the strength of the buying and the selling. And I do have some moving averages here. This is a 200 and a 50 and a 20. And I don't generally trade with moving averages, but these give me a good indication of the volume-weighted average price in real time. So I look at this chart, and I see that after this nice divergence in the fear-greed indicator that signaled the end of this up move, we had a pretty good down move, and I'm seeing that each successive down thrust is showing less and less selling, and I'm seeing a lot of buying here at this point. So here at this point on the 6th of May, I see a test of this support zone and divergence in the radar 1, and in general a lot more buying than selling. The next part of my analysis includes another moderately slow chart. This is a 6,500 share chart on crude oil, and you can see there's only at most a couple dozen bars per day. And this is showing me the general trend and sentiment of the market. And I do have some indicators here that help show me some setups. But these are not necessarily setups that I'm trading in real time because this is such a slow chart. What I'm seeing here at the early part of May 6th, again, is once we found this bottoming pattern and some bottoming signals like trend exhaustion 3, some weakening selling, and started seeing some accumulation with this spate of buying over a few days. I notice here that radar 3 has now crossed above the zero line, and so that indicates bullishness, although it's weakness in the bullish trend since it's pink and pointing up. So basically this market could still go either way, but I am seeing some what I call accumulation in this sideways movement below this resistance area here and above this support area here. Next, we get into the meat of my trading technique, and this is the actual chart that I use to identify setups that I'm looking for to trade. In the case of the crude oil, it's going to be the 1597 share chart, and you can see I have quite a few indicators on here. Most of them should be familiar to you. I have two trenders, a long-term trender and a kind of a medium-term trender. I have my trend exhaustion 1 and pullback 23 indicators, and here you can see radar 2 and radar 3, and then here is my radar 1. And for those of you that were in my last Q&A session, you know that I've created a version of Radar 1 whereon I apply a moving average, which gives me a kind of a MACD plot of the difference between the moving average and the Radar 1 itself. And so that's what these little background cyan and yellow histograms are at the back of this Radar 1. Now you can see at this point on May 6th here in the morning, about 7 o'clock, I'm seeing a pullback 23 setting up. In fact, I get a little warning dot. This little yellow cross is a warning that's preliminary to a pullback 23. You can see my Radar 2 is just getting ready to cross the fast line over the slow line while I'm seeing weakness in the uptrend of Radar 3. So I'm also seeing quite a lot of buying in my Radar 1 at this point in time, in spite of the fact that we're still kind of near these lows that we reached the day before. So I'm starting to definitely be interested in trading this pullback in the uptrend identified by this upcoming pullback 23. So I turn to my timing chart to see when to get in. Okay, now here is the chart I actually trade from, and this is a 377 tick chart off of the crude oil contract, and I have a few more indicators on here that help me identify these trading setups. You can see my bars are painted with a Radar 1 gradient so that I can see just by looking at the bars how strong the buying and the selling is. I also, of course, have my Radar 1 right here applied, and I've shown here that the moving average I was talking about a moment ago. And you can see that when it crosses below that moving average, the little yellow histogram plots yellow below it. When it crosses above that moving average, you can see it's a cyan histogram above it. And I use these, what I call Radar 1 MACD histograms, to confirm the timings of my entries or my exits, as well as to identify a pullback setup that I'm using these days called Radar 1 pullback. And you can see I got a few Radar 1 pullback signals here on this chart. That's basically when you see the histogram below the fear greed, and then it starts to curve back in the direction of the buying or the selling. I call that a Radar 1 pullback setup. Also have here a tool that gives pretty good signals. It's a stochastic divergence identifier. It looks for divergences in an overbought oversold zone of a stochastic oscillator, and a few other tools. But the main ones that I want to talk about are our primary sets of tools: the Radar 1, Radar 2, Radar 3, and our triple trender. You see I have triple trender applied to this chart, and Radar 2 and Radar 3. Now at this point in this day, this is early in the morning, the trading day on May 6th, as I said, I was looking for a pullback trade to the upside from the previous chart. Now in order to confirm that trade, I need to see my Radar 1 MACD at least cross over the zero line and be blue, and I want to see my Radar 3 at least turn blue, showing me a little bit of strength in the trend. And of course I want to see the Radar 2 price leader cross above the slow line. So at this point in the morning, you can see that I was right here. You can see the Radar 2 crossed above. I haven't got the confirmation in Radar 3 yet, but I got it in the MACD, the Radar 1 MACD. Finally, on this bar right here, I get confirmation in Radar 3. My Radar 1 MACD has turned blue. My fast line is over my slow line. I entered long right here on this bar. So I entered my trade long, and we can see what happens as it progresses. You see I even gave myself a little, okay, I'm waiting for Radar 3 to turn. It goes sideways for a while, and I'm taking a little bit of heat here as it's going sideways. You might say I'm in a little bit early, but eventually we get a few more signals. This here is a trend line breakout signal from an automatic trend line signal right there. That was a very comforting signal. And I'm seeing my fear greed show a little more buying. That's good. I've not only got my MACD on my side, now I have my fear greed on my side. I'm showing a little profit. I've got my stop at this point on the long-term trender, and the price keeps moving in my direction. You can see it's starting to make me feel better. I'm seeing a lot of buying stepping in, making me feel a lot better. Trend is now clearly bullish on this chart. So now I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. And the price keeps moving up. You can see I exited this trade right here because I didn't want to give back too much of my profits. I saw this radar 2 cross below the fast line, cross below the slow line. Thought that'd be a good exit opportunity, and took my profits while I could. That was not bad. I think at that point I was still interested in taking some more. So if I look at my 1597 at that point, I think this may have also influenced my decision to get out. You can see right there on that bar where I decided to get out, I had gotten an overbought trend exhaustion 1 signal. So that's let me know that it might be interested in getting out. I was also above this resistance level, which I believe was also a significant resistance level, right around 100 was where we'd kind of been going back and forth on the 6500 share chart. So I got out, took some profits, and said, well, I can always get back in. Which, as it turns out, I got this radar 1 pullback signal that I was just referring to earlier. When the MACD is pointing down, but the fear greed is pointing up, and then the MACD rolls back up, then that says, well, you got a radar 1 pullback, and here my fast line of my radar 2 crosses back over my slow line. So I got back in right here on this bar to continue taking this trade. And it continues to move in my favor. I get the stochastic divergence signal that we're about to see a down move, which kind of concerns me. And I see my divergence right here in radar 2, saying that we're looking for some serious deceleration. And as I said, I've already kind of gotten past my main resistance level, so I'm thinking it might be time to take a little more profit at this point in time. And perhaps I saw this radar 1 pullback. It didn't really pan out. Actually, I believe I set my stop at that point between my short-term and medium-term trender and got out of the trade. And it was a nice trade. I want to thank you for taking some of your time to watch the Sentry report again. And I want to remind you that, of course, all of these examples are meant for purely educational purposes. Jan Arps Trader's Toolbox is not licensed to make trading recommendations, but we are licensed to make some of the greatest technical analysis tools that you'll find on the planet. So, with the help of some good analysis and some good living, may the trend be with you.